YouTubers, Brian Proctor back again with another video. And if this is your first time seeing this video, or if you are new to this channel, my channel is dedicated to the comic book artists, to the beginners, those of you who say, I want to draw a comic book, but I have no idea what I'm doing or where to start. So this channel is dedicated to you guys. So what I do on this channel is, first, I teach you guys how to draw, or to draw a little bit better so that you can do your comic book. My main thing is focusing on the anatomy so that you guys can understand how to draw a proper body to do your character. Now, once you have your anatomy down right, I focus on developing your character. Now, I'm sure if you are trying to get into comic books, you already have a character in mind. So we break that character down to where he is sellable. But don't focus so much on like developing the car or designing the costume. I'll leave that up to you. But what I do focus on is things like character traits, what your character is like. Now, you can come up with the most baddest character in the galaxy, untouchable, unbeatable, but that will only last for so long because nobody can identify with that character. If you take Spider-Man, for instance, and Spider-Man is probably the most popular, recognized character on the planet. What is it about Spider-Man that we all like about him? It's not so much the costume, it's not so much about his powers. It's more about his character flaws. Here you have this teenager who's a geek, who lives with his aunt and uncle. His parents have died. He really doesn't have friends in school. His uncle dies. He gets this great power, and which causes his uncle to die, or which helps his uncle to die, let's put it that way. So now he has this great power, but he's still a geek in school. He really can't tell everybody about he can't tell anybody about his powers, really. So he has to hide that. But with these great powers, he still has to do his regular routine. So later up, he grows up, he gets a job to try to help his aunt. His boss doesn't like him, he's late for work, and on top of that, he still has to go out and save people. So things like this we can relate to, not having friends, or having a boss that's trying to fire us all the time, or money problems, all that stuff we can relate to. If you have a character who is just all superpower, can create worlds and just devastating, we can't really get into that. We can't really get on that level to stay with that character long enough for him to develop and you to make a great name for yourself. So what I try to focus on is character flaws, developing your character to where they can be relatable to us, to the average person. So once you have your character developed, I work on giving your character a life. Then once you have that character's life, as in where does he live, how old is he, what does he do for a living, that type of thing. Now once we get that, I'm not going to say me, because this is your character. I'm just trying to help you develop it. Now once we get that, then I'll show you how to put that down on paper so that you can have a complete story for that character. Then once you have that all down on paper, we take that story and turn it into more of a visual story so that people can see and follow it at the same time. After that comes the inking process. The inking is hard, but it's not really hard. After that comes coloring. So that's optional. You might want to color, you might not color. Now, a lot of these things, a lot of these steps that I'm already telling you are already on my channel. A lot of times people will find one video and they'll enjoy it, they'll comment and so forth, but they won't go to the channel to find other videos. I'm just letting you know now. A lot of this stuff that I'm saying is already out on video for you guys to watch step by step. I just continue to make videos to either update that which I have done, or to add new stuff to help you further down the road. Okay, now after you have your character design, your life for your character, the story down, the visual part drawn, then the coloring, the inking. Then you have to, I'll show you where to get this book put together and published. And after the publishing comes advertising, which is the most important part, because you could have developed a cure for cancer, but nobody will know unless you go out there and tell them. So I work on that as well. So in this video, I want to get a little deeper into character design for your book. So this, I'm going to talk about what you actually need to develop a good character. Now, just drawing a picture of, just drawing some action pose and then dressing them in your character's costume does not make for character development or a good character, period. So this is what this video is about, getting into your character and developing him so that when people see that character, they'll know exactly what it's about. All right, so in this video, I want to use my character to show you how to develop your character. I'm going to show you all the things that I went through, my fails and triumphs, so that you can avoid all of that. So in this video, I'm going to talk a lot about my character and the book. And I know somebody's going to write in the comments and say, oh, he's just promoting your book, his book. So I have 3 things to say to that. 1 is no, 2 is yes, and 3 is so. It's my channel. I'm not going to promote the X-Men's book. They've already got their billions of dollars. It's my turn, so on my channel, I'm going to promote my book. So by doing that, or by using my character, as I said, I can show you how I did it so that you can take those same mistakes. Because when I started this in the 60s, yes, I said the 60s, growing up in the 60s, should I say, there was no comic book school, there was no classes on drawing anatomy and writing and so forth. So all of this stuff I had to learn on my own. So that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, because growing up or coming up, I met a lot of people that wanted to learn how to do it, and there was nobody really out there to show them how to do it. So this is why I'm starting this channel, or I started this channel. So let's get right into it. I'm sure you're tired of looking at this picture, but I wanted you guys to see that, as I said, the first thing I do is I teach you guys how to draw, focusing on the anatomy, and I break the anatomy down into parts. These are shapes, parts and shapes. Let me go back again, because now I'm starting to stutter. These are the shapes that you would need to draw the anatomy, which is basically this. The anatomy is a puzzle. Once you learn how to put that puzzle together, then it's easy to draw. So as I said, once you have the anatomy down, you start to develop your character. So let's talk about my character. This is the character from my book. This is Trials of the Samurai Clown book. Let me pull back on this camera a little bit so you can see. All right, so this is the character that I came up with. This is the Samurai Clown for my book, Trials of the Samurai Clown. The first thing you're probably thinking of is, why did I come up with this clown character? One, because the story. And the story actually makes your book. Your character first, your character flaws, and then the story that goes around your character, that makes for a book. Now, if I said this clown had the powers of God and he creates worlds and so forth, you really can't identify with that, and that's kind of stupid in a way. But if this guy has a bunch of flaws, which he does, and he has to overcome these obstacles, then that's a good story for you. So, okay, I'm sure you've already read what I have here. So this is just a little taste of what this character is about. But the whole thing is, as I said, once you get your anatomy, you work on your costume. So to do a costume, you have to know your costume left, right, up, and down. For like example, I'll give you an example. There is a pocket on his pants that I forgot to draw. And you can't have that when you start doing your book. You have to be able to redraw that over and over and over the same way. So this acts not only as a reference for you when you're drawing your character, but it shows the world that you're serious about what you're doing, that you actually thought about this character, you drew him up, and you know what he looks like, and you're showing them that you're serious, you're professional about doing this thing. So if you are serious, if you are really serious, you are going to have to do this with your character. Not just that your main character, but all your characters, the bad guys, the people that interact with your character. So let's just say your character is in school and he has a best friend, John. You're going to have to do this with John. The only time you won't have to do this is with somebody that is not really reappearing. So if your character's favorite subject in school is math, and the math teacher, you show him every now and then, you have to do this, but you won't have to get really detailed about it. But the more a character is featured, the more detail you have to do. And one thing about this is that I tell people about the hair. And if you've seen any other of my videos, you know that I'm not going to say stickler about hair, but I get on people about designing hair. So here's an example. The hair, if you had to redraw this, if you designed your character and you gave him some hair like that, so you had to redraw that hair over and over, from the front, from the side, from the back, and then you miss a point or two, people will get on you about that. So don't think that I'll just throw some spiky hair up there and my character will look cool. No, actually be, I don't want to say diligent with it, be responsible, just do right, because you're going to have to draw that front, 3/4 view from the back, from the top to the bottom. So that gives you something to think about as you develop your character. And another thing you're going to have to do is the face. There's nothing worse than drawing a character and then in the next panel he looks different. So you're going to have to do this with your character as well, along with expressions. You're going to have to be able to do expressions, a whole page of expressions. And I say this serves as a reference guide to you. Put it on your wall next to your drawing table or wherever you draw. That way, if you're doing a 3/4 angry view, you already have it up. If you're doing a upshot, a smiling face, you already have that. So you can just look at it and just draw it from what you see. But the more you draw it, the easier it becomes. It's like your signature. What do they call it? It's called muscle memory. People say, how do you draw so fast? Because you draw this. I draw the same thing basically kind of over and over and over again. So I see it in my head and I know how my hand has to go to draw it. Because I've got a lot of comments saying, oh, slow down, slow down. But I mean, that's just natural for me. I'm just a fast drawer because I draw it. It's like your signature. You don't go slow when you do your signature because you've done it so much. You just zip it out and it's done. You don't even have to think about it. You can do it with your eyes closed. And that's the same thing with drawing. You should just draw as much as you can, especially your character. Just start drawing him in any kind of cool position you can think about. For example, once you get all that down, then you can start doing, just some cool stuff. And I want to show you a couple more pages that I have about just that I did just because I wanted to just play with my character. And again, there's no pocket. So give me 2 seconds while I pull up what I was going to pull up, and I will show you some things that I did with my character. Okay, I know somebody will say, oh, he's showing off, but no, it's not showing off. It's just redrawing your character over and over again. And this was a poster. This is like a mini poster that I did. This was colored. Where is the other one? Maybe I might have to pull back. This was another bit of a poster that I did. And as I say, you're just basically, at this point, you're drawing your character over and over again so that you can get the feel of exactly what your character looks like. How does he move? How would he stand? The whole 9 yards. And see, I put pockets on this guy. So, yeah. Then have some more fun. There's the Samurai Clown versus Panthro. Just playing around. Now, some of these things that people haven't seen yet. Some of them you may have seen. But, yeah. Where's the other one? You got the clown with the Hulk and the Flash. As I said, you're playing around with your character, just developing your character more. And these are, I don't even know if I actually put this one out or colored it yet, but it's playing around. Draw your character as much as possible. We have another one. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, that's not a samurai, that's a shogun outfit. So I say this, it's a comic book. Stop stressing over it, okay? I'm having fun, it's my character. And of course, the clown is not always going to be in his clown outfit because he is a person. That's one of the things. He is a real person. He does dress and go out, but he tattooed his face. That's a permanent tattoo. So basically, he's hiding in plain sight. I'll get into the story later, but yeah, he tattooed his face because of something he did, and that was kind of like a punishment for himself. He's wanted, but that's part of his struggles, walking around with that clown face forever and being wanted and being chased. So he has to live his life and trying to get over it because he's wanted dead or alive. So this is his car. This is his clown car. And I just didn't finish it because I have trouble drawing round wheels, and I don't want to draw a nice car and the wheels are not really round. So once I do that, then I'm going to put a symbol on his shirt. I don't know what symbol yet. So yeah, these are just some things that I'm doing about the clown. And as I said, you would say, why did I do a clown? Because the story is unique. The character is unique. And I think that it will sell once I get it out there. Now, it's already out. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm up to like book 5. I've been doing other books like my how to draw anatomy books. I do children books. So I'm doing a lot of things, plus this YouTube channel. So I'm going to focus more on the clown. Now, I have other books that I do with other characters. So these are a couple of other my characters and books that I have. And, you know, it's kind of hard for one man to do 3 books plus teaching books plus videos. So this is why it takes a while to get some stuff out. This is the character. This is the cover to the first book. I'm working on the second book. It's been a while. This was another character. And this was a web comic that I started, but I decided it would be better in a book. So, and then this is the characters. Other characters. Now, when you do your main character, the same thing you do for that main character, as I say, which is this, you're going to have to do for every character. So this is a circus. He worked for the circus. He ran away from the circus. So there are performers at the circus. So for every person that I did, you have to have, and I'm looking for something else, you have to have a drawing for that character as well. I'm looking for, there's a couple posters that I did. Now, let me zoom back in. And every character has to have a life. You have to know their names, you have to know where they were born, you have to know what their favorite food is. It may never come out in the comic book, but you have to know that in order to say to yourself, you know, I have great characters. I have these great characters. So, as I said, you're going to have storyline for all of them. Is the ringmaster. Again, just this focusing in and out, in and out, in and out. You need a remote. So, yeah. As I said, you're going to have storylines for all of those because Spider-Man has Aunt May and he has J. Jonah Jameson and then Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy and all these people. You have to have stories to go with. So, and then of course there are drawings. Now, before I get to other things, I'm going to flash some things that relate to my character. What are you saying? I don't know. All right, so he has a sword. The sword does different things because the guy, he's a top assassin, so assassin has to have his weapons, his shoes, his daisy, which does several functions, his gas canisters, which is what he uses to do stuff on his assassination missions, his balloons. So all of these things I have developed, and you have to develop too for your character. So let's Let's throw that up there. Yeah, this is another thing, because this is the starting. This is when he went out. He's all torn and tattered because he left in this outfit. So it's kind of like wandering. And then the other outfit, the colorful one, is basically the main outfit that he will use, which is, I have no idea. I'm just throwing papers around. I can't find it. So anyway, yeah. All right, let's go to this. This will be my screenshot. Now, at this point, I'm sure you're saying, "Oh, he's showing off," but I'm really not. I just want you guys to see what it takes to actually develop a comic book. A lot of people look at comic books, especially adults that don't know. They're like, "Oh, comic book, what's a comic book?" But it takes a lot. The same way that you would develop a movie and a movie script is the same way that you'd have to develop a comic book. You have to have your story, you have to have your characters, you have to have your character designs, you have to have your backgrounds, your special effects, all of that stuff is the same for comic books. And if you know anything about behind the scenes and doing movies, they have storyboards. And storyboards are basically just comic book panels. I wasn't going to show this, but let me show this. It's just basically the same thing. They are a series of panels that tell the story. Same thing for a movie. Except at the end of it all, they use the storyboards and they film what you have going on in there, and it just puts it on film, and they make more money, and you go to Hollywood and blah blah blah. While us little comic book artists, we're scraping by to make a couple dollars. So, okay, again, and back to character design, you are going to have to develop each and every character. And these are other characters that are in the story. Each one has to have a background, the names, the powers, how they got to be there. Just, it has to be there to develop a real story. As I say, you can just draw somebody in a cool position and then say, "Oh, this is my character." Well, who is your character? How old is your character? But you say, "Oh, he can fly, and he's super strong, and he's invulnerable, and he's this and but what does he do? He goes around and he fights people. Why is he fighting people? Because they're bad. Or what does he do when he puts his costume away? Does he have a job? Or what reason does he have to wake up every morning and put that costume on to go out there because he's bored?" So things like that, people will see in the beginning of a story and say, "You know what? That's stupid. That's stupid. Why am I spending money on that? I'll just go buy the next X-Men book." But you want your book to be the next X-Men book or better than X-Men book because of the story, because of the character. The character is colorful. The character has so many problems, but he's constantly overcoming those problems by doing this or that. But once he overcomes a problem, here's another problem. Just like in real life, who loves to go to work? Who loves to go to school and have to do homework over the weekend? Who loves to go to work and have to work overtime or deal with traffic, stuff like that? But we all end up doing that. So by adding that to your story, we can relate to that. And then why do we go to movies? We go to movies to basically get away from the stress of the day or the stress of the week. We want to relax our minds and just constantly get away. That is entertainment. And that's something that people like books for, to basically get away from it all. Now we have like virtual reality and all this other stuff, which I think is really bad for you because, once you get into that little box, it's hard. Who knows what they do to your mind. But, yeah, I was going to say something, but I just lost it. But it is once you have developed a great story and people get hooked and they can identify with that character, you have $1 million product. So that's why I say character development is crazy important. Then the story that goes around your character is just as important. Then you bring your not actors, the people that interact with them. They're also important too. The bully, the lover, the rent manager, the roach that talks to him and crawls on the ground. But there's no roaches in this story that talk to him and crawl on the ground. So all of that is important for story development, for your basically for your book to sell. So in wrapping all this up, if you want to do a comic book, you're out there, you want to do this comic book, you have to start out with this first. Don't just have this one cool position of your character and say, oh, that's my character, it's my character. No, actually get down and develop your character. How old is your character? Where was he born? The whole 9 yards. And I'm going to do a video on breaking your character down, developing a story for your character. But it's kind of hard to do when I have no idea what your character is about. So I wanted to do a generic character as best I can and then give it a story, and maybe you can kind of piggyback off of what I'm saying to add it to your story, or not so much add it, to use it to develop your story. So that's something I have to work on, and forgive me for rambling, because this is not really scripted. I try to script some of my videos, but it just doesn't work. It just comes off the top of my mind. So yeah, if you have a character, start this. For every character, you need to do that. Then just like the, what are those little trading cards, you have to know the powers and so forth, and I'm looking for that other thing. What is his powers? What is his weaknesses? What is his location? It's good to have that for every character. Here it is. This. It's good to have that. So for every character you have, just like I had the ringmaster, the name, the age, the height, the occupation, the so forth, and so on. If you have vehicles, you have to break all those vehicles down. So comics is not for the faint of heart, let's put it that way. It takes a lot. It takes more than one man to do that. Now, I've been doing this by myself for the longest time, and I'm just now being able to get some people on board with me that see or believe in the project. So as I say, if you are definitely serious about doing a comic book, it could be done. It could be done. So, and now I'm showing off. These are the books I did, and basically I did these by myself. And as I said, this last book, I finally got help doing it. I always had someone to help me with the lettering, so that's an important thing. Everything else was done by myself, except for this guy. I got a new colorist now. I still have my letterer, so there's 3 people working on the book. So I want to kick more books out now. And this is not, for those who have seen this for the first time, this is not a slash crazy killer clown thing. You think it's like gory and so forth. Yeah, he's got blood on his hands, but that's just for selling purposes. So as I said, this is not a slash gory kind of thing. The whole premise, the whole background, let me break it down a little bit for you, was that the circus is an organization of assassins. Back in the day, the circus was just basically a circus, but they realized that the circus kind of had like carte blanche to get to wherever they wanted to, not around the world at that time, but through borders and so forth, to put on shows. So they used that to assassinate people. This guy here, when he was young, all he wanted to be was a clown. He wanted to make people laugh, so he ended up becoming a clown and joining a circus. He did not know that the circus was a group of assassins, but because he loved the old samurai movies and the martial arts, because of his skills, the ringmaster knew that he could be a great asset to the circus. So he kind of did it reluctantly. They brought him on slowly to do these jobs, and at one point he did this one job and he just remembered why he wanted to be a clown, and he couldn't do it anymore, so he ran away from the circus. Now the circus is, as I said, it's a secret organization of assassins. Only less than a handful of people know what their true purpose is. So the number one rule is, once you join the circus, you can never leave. So this guy was disgusted with what he did, so he tattooed his face permanently with this clown, sad clown face, and he left the circus. He also cut his hair off and put it back like that with this super hold, so it won't move. It's stuck in that position. So he left the circus, but when he left the circus, he ran off with a secret, and I think it's on here somewhere. And then, so now the rest of the performers are out looking for him to bring him back, dead or alive, because he took a secret with him. And it wasn't the secret for the circus being put down. It was a secret for some other organization to be destroyed, but he didn't know. So basically, he's on the run from all these performers, and he's trying to hide in plain sight. And these guys are tracking him down, trying to bring him back. But he swore that he would never return to the circus. So that's basically the premise of the story. They're trying to bring this guy back, dead or alive. So as I say, it's not a slasher clown movie. This guy is just a sweet guy whose life went wrong, and now he's trying to make his life better by just getting the hell up out of there. So, and this poster, this was, I think it was the Avengers. Somebody drew the Avengers, and I'm going to just go ahead and tell the truth on that one. They drew an Avengers pinup. I think that was Captain America and Thor and some other people. But when I saw it, I loved the position that they put the characters in. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to draw my people in that same position. And I like that. So yeah, this is my stolen clown poster position. But as somebody said about positions, I think I did one, and somebody said it was like a nice Superman pose. There are no real original poses out there. Nobody has the right to pose like this, the little muscle pose. You know, you can't say, oh, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's pose, because all bodybuilders do that. So to take a pose and to stand your person up in a position that you see, as long as you're putting your character there, I mean, that's fine. What is it? What I'm trying to say, if the Flash runs and the Quicksilver runs, what's the difference? You know, you can pull an arm up or pull an arm back, or pull a left leg up, a left or right leg back. It's the same thing as a run. So a stand is a stand, a jump is a jump, whether Wolverine is doing it or Batman is doing it. So don't get caught up on saying, oh, you know, this is the same pose. Nobody owns a pose. Nobody owns making a fist. If that was the case, nobody could make a fist. Nobody could do a punch. All punches are basically the same. It's just the angle that you show it in. And that's more stuff that I covered in some other videos. So I'm going to end this, and I'm going to say, yes, check out my channel. If you're into this, if this is your first time looking or seeing this, check out my channel, because a lot of the stuff I'm telling you about, developing stuff, drawing, how to publish, how to make money. If you already got your comic book out, I have a video on how to make money with your abilities. Or if you're going to go to a convention, how to sell your books at a convention. So many different things I've already done. But people will see one video and then know, oh, I love that, which I'm glad. But they won't go into the channel and find out what else is there. It's all there to help you develop your skills. And I also help people online. If you write to me, my email should come up, and you say, oh, I'm having a problem with this. I'll help you as best I can, because there are a few people I'll draw some examples and I'll email it, and we'll just email back and forth. They'll do a drawing and I'll correct it and I'll send it back. So I'm here to help you guys. You know, whether I make money or not, that's always been my goal, to help you guys or help people to get where I am and surpass me. And when you surpass me, come back and give me a job. That's all I ask. All right, so I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next video, where I think I said I'm going to do one on developing your character in story mode, because a lot of artists are not writers. That's one thing I've run into. A lot of artists, they can't write, and a lot of writers can't draw. So I'm also trying to connect, or well, not trying, I am connecting artists with writers. I've done that with several people, and they're getting their books out, and I'm really happy to see that, because I know that I was a part of helping them to get their books out. So that's still on the table too. Check out the videos. I talk about where starting my business, where artists helping artists, we help each other do what we can do, and then return the favor as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff out there that I've been doing that I could just ramble about. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. So with that, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next video.